And we are back. It's a big deadline week. The president's health care law led to last year's government shutdown. The House has voted to repeal all or part of the president's health plan more than 50 times. And yet another new poll, this one from the Associated Press, shows support for the law at its lowest level since passage 4 years ago. So health care, we know this. It's the most divisive political issue in politics today. So what does success look like for the Obama administration? Well, here's what they said in September.
I think success looks like at least 7 million people having signed up by the end of March 2014.
I said that was September of last year, days before the infamous healthcare website crash. This week, the administration decided to hail the fact that 6 million signed up. A little lower expectations there, thanks to the Congressional Budget Office. I'm joined now by two experts on opposite sides of the healthcare law to discuss its future. Jonathan Cohn is senior editor at The New Republic and a supporter. And Avik Roy is a senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute and opinion editor at Forbes. And he's been an ardent critic, but you guys do it on the policy front. So let's just ask this basic thing. 6 million. Jonathan, you've been a supporter of this, but, criticized certain things. Should they be spiking the football the way the administration was this week, that they got 6 million enrollees?
Look, I don't know if they should be spiking the football, but I take it as a promising sign. There were stories this week about people lining up around the block to sign up in time for the end of the month. We still have a few days to go. I don't know where the final number will end up. But we're also hearing more stories of people who are very grateful to get health insurance and people who had insurance and are saving money. There's a lot we don't know. Then you have to weigh the good and the bad. But I think, particularly looking at where they started, how bad this was, I think this is some good news.
Well, they're succeeding with a lower bar of expectations. But, Avik, does this mean now the law is unrepealable? Is it to the point, there's too many people that have health care? If you throw 6 million in, 4 million more in Medicaid, you throw in maybe 3 million that have gotten insurance based on being 26 or under, so we're up to 15 million people that this law has given health care to. Does that mean the law itself is now unrepealable?
I don't think unrepealable is the word I'd use, but I do think that those measures or those numbers you just brought up do indicate that it will be difficult to repeal. Now, the thing you have to bring up on the other side is it's called the Affordable Care Act. And is it actually making health care less expensive? For the people who benefit from the subsidies, who benefit from those programs, they're going to benefit. But there are going to be a lot of other people who pay higher premiums under Obamacare. In Michigan, it's 66% in the Manhattan study we did that shows how much the costs are going up. In Iowa, it's 72%. In Louisiana, it's 53%. So a lot of people who aren't benefiting from those subsidies are seeing increased premiums.
The fact is, healthier people are paying more than they did before. They seem to be paying. I mean, that's been fair. There's always going to be a winner and a loser. But, Jonathan, I guess the question now is, do you look at this, and if the makeup is not what they need it to be, where there's not enough young, healthy people in here, does that mean in September of this year and going into 2015, we're going to see premiums get raised?
So, I mean, it is early still. I mean, we don't know, the insurance companies don't know. This last-minute rush, historically young, healthy people are the final ones to sign up. So
that
we
was
don't
the
know.
hit. That's what they thought in Massachusetts,
That's what
and that was their history.
And everything anecdotally we're seeing now suggests that's happening now. There's still a few more days to go. It's hard to know. We'll wait and see. The system is designed to have some shock absorbers to built in, so if the mix isn't quite right, it should put some restraint on where the prices go next year. And look, it's going to be 51 different stories. Every state in the District of Columbia is different.
Avik, what should be the Republican? You have said that the Republicans have dropped the ball here a little bit, that they don't have a realistic alternative. So what should be their next move now?
I think the first thing is, and I've told this to members that I've spoken to, is that you have to hold the authors of the bill responsible for how it drives up the cost of health care. Again, it's called the Affordable Care Act, and again, a lot of people are seeing increased premiums, and not just this year. Next year is going to be interesting. What we're hearing from the insurers thus far is that they're expecting double-digit increases for the cost of these health plans on the exchange in 2015. We still haven't heard about how much the plans are going to cost for employer-sponsored insurance under Obamacare as it was before, and those things are going to affect the election in November for sure.
Jonathan, is any single person in 2014 going to pay the penalty?
Oh yeah, I think there are people who will pay the penalty, and I also
do you?
I do.
Because there's so many caveats out of this thing.
There are a lot of exceptions.
But you do think people will?
I do think people will, and I also think we'll wait and see where those premiums come in. They are getting a lot of people in now. There's there's been this pattern where they always predict the worst. The website wasn't working. Right. No one will ever sign up, and then it was, well, no one will get to the doctor. And you know what? Things were okay. There were problems, but things worked out well. I'm pretty optimistic.
15 million people have health care. There were 50 million that didn't when this was signed. We still have 35 more million people without health care. When do they get health care?
it's going to be tough because, again, the reason why so many people are uninsured in America is because health insurance and health care is so expensive. And so if you don't bring the costs down, you aren't going to really address the broader uninsured problem in this country. And I think that's where the ACA may have some struggles later on.
I'm guessing you agree with about half of that statement.
I agree with half that there's more to go, but I do think the Affordable Care Act, we're already seeing healthcare costs slow down. We don't know how much of that is the ACA at all, but anecdotally, there's evidence of progress.
You guys are two of the most thoughtful guys that have been debating this on opposite sides. We wish more political debates were this way. Jonathan Cohn, Avik Roy, thank you very much.